Welcome to African Woman on the Move. Welcome to another episode of African Women on the Move, where I'm featuring African women on the continent and from the diaspora who are doing some amazing things in business, socially, making an impact in the world. And today I have a woman who's doing some fantastic work with women who are in Ghana who weave baskets. She has this business, Woven Worldwide, which is really, really, really phenomenal.
Thank you.
I just have to say that.
Thank you.
But today we're going to be chatting with her about what she's doing with Woven Worldwide. So thank you so much, Viola.
Thank you, Ivy. Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you as well. Thank you.
So first of all, I want to start off with your background in retail fashion, retail luxury fashion. Is this something that you've always wanted to do, or is it something you kind of fell into?
I would say fell into, for sure.
Really?
Yeah, I think we all young Ghanaian girls, you see your mom with textiles in the house, you see your mom, getting dressed up. And my dad always had like a keen eye for things. My dad used to work for Sears. He was a draftsman for Sears.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we have the plans of the Warden and Eglinton location at the house. Like, this is years ago, right? So I always kind of grew up with that design eye, not really knowing how to apply it. And then I can't remember how the opportunity came about. I think I was working at what was it, Costa Blanca or something in Scarborough Town Center.
Yes, I know that store.
I think I was like
out of business now.
Are they? Oh God, everyone's out of business. But yeah, so I think I was 18 or something, or 17, and then through that, it led into a management role, and I just kind of liked that type of setting. And so I think so I worked at Burberry in the Yorkdale Mall. It was a great experience. We had a really strong management team, and I was the newbie coming in from Zara. I had to refine myself in a way because I can be a very extroverted person, very loud, very jovial, and that's not luxury. You have to kind of mute yourself in a way and be distinguished. And so from there, after Burberry was Nordstrom. So Nordstrom, I was in the designer handbag area, and then was promoted to Eaton Center. They had an opportunity there, and it was offered, and I took it. And so after that, actually during that, I was coming back and forth to Ghana.
Yeah.
My parents had retired early, and so, come check on your parents, maybe go to a fashion event, go back home. And then the cycle continues kind of thing. And so I think I think we all like quality.
Yes.
And we all ascribe to something better. And, but the luxury that we know overseas is quite different than the luxury that's present here.
It is.
Yeah. So I guess it's just finding that balance now that I'm here.
Okay. So in all of the going back and forth to see your parents here in early retirement, going back to Canada to work with Nordstrom, what is it that was the turning point that made you decide to leave and stay here to do your business or to even start a business? Yeah.
It may be hard to understand for some, but honestly, there were moments where I would be at home, maybe my day off or something, and there was just this people, my mom calls it spiritual, but it's just this magnet. It was this thing of like, sometimes I would wake up in my sleep and be like, I need to go to Ghana.
Wow.
It was something, I wouldn't say it was a headache, but it was something that wouldn't leave me. This feeling of, you need to do more. I need to do more, because when you work for a system, like, what can you do? The next step for me was regional designer manager. And again, those type of roles, I can see now, those type of roles lack substance. You're training a team. Yes, we're selling, maybe we have $1 million in sales, but I wanted more. And I think there was a call for identity as well for me. And so, I was coming back to Ghana. I was coming to hang out with my cousin Valerie. We would go to the north, and she's just awesome. She showed me around, kind of left me to do my own thing. And and I think as I started going into the communities in the north, I started with shea butter actually, because my parents imported shea.
Okay.
On top of their full-time jobs, which a lot of,
There's a lot of Ghanaians who do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was at one point my parents used to sell textiles.
Yeah.
Yeah, wax print fabrics.
Yeah. So I've kind of grew up with that kind of, you have like a security on the side. Yes, you have your full-time job, but So I started doing that, and then so this is in Tamale, and then grew into textiles, and then baskets, well, not even baskets, but I would say woven items would be that umbrella that I love.
Okay. And what is it about the woven items that really you were drawn to?
I think when I was watching the women, it wasn't so much about the fact that the items were woven, is that I was being woven into my culture through fashion as my identity, right? Everyone has their own anchor. Some people are in finance and they come home and they find, oh my gosh, there's so many great opportunities in finance. But my thing was through fashion, but I would say more specifically through retail, because the two are different.
They are.
Yeah, whereas fashion is maybe the feeling. Retail is the engine that drives that product out.
The business side of it.
Yeah, the business side of it. So I was posting on Instagram, and I think I had like 300 followers or something. And people are like, oh my gosh, where'd you get that? And so I was shipping things back home.
Yeah.
You know, I would get back to Accra and I would go to DHL, and yeah, it just started rolling. But yeah, I think why woven? Because woven is first an ideology. It's about us coming together. It's about what you're doing now, interviewing people. You're back home, and although you're born here, you have experience from outside, right? And so it's about the interconnectivity. It's not, woven is more than baskets.
Yeah.
Woven is just how I entered that community. But we do a lot more in terms of retail, with the exchange of African or Black-owned businesses exchanging back between Canada and, you know, building supply chains. Yeah.
So the women that are weaving the baskets for you, how did you choose the ones who are doing all the work right now?
Oh, trial and error, a lot of quality control, a lot of investment into, okay, I'll give you context. When I first started, I was just blind sourcing. I have a few suppliers in Boga, and I was saying, okay, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then they would come to me and it's like, there's a quality issue with this because, you know, it didn't meet that standard. And so after a while, I started going there myself and literally working side by side. And I loved it. I loved it because you're kind of learning the language, but more importantly, you're connecting with people, and that's woven. Like, I needed that connectivity. I want them to know who I am. I want to know who they are. I want to know their story. They want to know my story. They may assume my story, and I may assume theirs based on, you know, stuff like social economical stuff. But yeah, it was. I think as you grow your business, and I don't care what sector you're in a developing nation.
Yeah.
If your customer's outside, there's a standard that you need to uphold, and the standard is here in Ghana. It's just people need to be trained. People all over the world need to be trained. It's not exclusive to just Ghana or Nigeria or any African countries, right? Yeah.
And okay, so now you said that you were working alongside them. Did you learn how to do some of the weaving too?
I can't.
Okay.
I failed miserably. Like, yes, they tried to teach me. There's an interlocking weave that we're doing right now on all of the bases of baskets, because it helps the basket to stand on a shelf properly or even on the floor. It actually can be painful to your fingers.
Right.
So I guess how we can compare it is, like, let's say I have a few friends that, you know, their dad took them fishing. That's how they bond. It's kind of seen like that as well. So, you know, you're a young child, or, you know, watching your mom, your grandmother, your uncle, your auntie weave, and these are master weavers I'm talking about. And so naturally you're in the community with your mom, and so you learn how to weave. It's bonding. It's like our mom plaiting our hair.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I think sometimes people say, oh, you know, it's child labor. It's not. It's not, because it's not for capital gain. It's communal bonding. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, but I don't have artisans on our team that are, you know, 6 and below. Like, all of them are 19 and above. Yes, okay. Yes, 19 to 65 years old, and men too. Yeah.
That's great. Your experience being in the luxury goods, and then now with the products that you're making here, you're also putting it into the luxury category as well. Is that correct?
I would call it EcoLuxury, yes.
EcoLuxury. So explain what you mean by EcoLuxury. Yeah.
To me, EcoLuxury is using materials from the earth, materials that you don't necessarily need a factory to produce. Because also the artisans are gifted, and they work with their hands, and they work with the skill sets given by God. And so there's a connectivity with earth. And I think, you know, we have an opportunity, we meaning every creative in Ghana, every creative in Nigeria, every creative in Africa has an opportunity to kind of explain what our version of luxury is. And, you know, there's this, you and I, we've spoken about this conversation of, does luxury have to mean something expensive? It doesn't. And I guess sometimes people will say, oh, Viola, you're in the luxury space, but they're quantifying the luxury as expensive. For particular baskets that we have, there's a shell basket we have on the website. It takes about 20 bundles. Each bundle, I'm paying for the time of the artisan. I'm paying for my team, to be there with me as we're producing products. Again, it's not blind sourcing. We're actually with them because sometimes it's on a spec from a customer. Sometimes it's just something I want to add to the website, right? And so EcoLuxury is using items from the earth, raw materials from the earth, creating them into product form. And in that experience, you're engaging with like maybe 3 to 7 days of someone's life, sometimes 14 days of someone's life, creating just a product, right? And so there's support built around these artisans as well, and that's where some of the money comes that we get from the e-commerce platform or from wholesale orders is generated back into the community. So it needs to be at a certain price point. And also there's this connotation or this perception of just because something is made in Africa means it should be lower price. And I think that's ridiculous.
I agree. I think it's ridiculous as well, because when you're talking about that they're gifted, and they're doing it with their hands, it makes me think about how people will look at Italy, they'll look at France, Spain, when people are doing couture gowns or bags, and they do it by hand, they're also gifted with what they're doing, equally the same way that the women you're working with and the men are gifted with how they're doing it. And it should be appreciated and valued in the same way.
Yes.
And I think that what you're doing is you're a little bit of a disruptor of what society thinks luxury is. Mainstream society, I should say. And I think that you are right when you say that people in other countries of Africa need to be part of changing the mindset as to what luxury really is.
Yeah, changing, and also we need to understand our own identity as well. Because, to your point of it's Italy, and I think we have just been groomed, we as in like the world globally, we've been groomed with, we spoke about this capitalism thing. Again, because something is expensive, you think there's the perception of value changes, right? But
because nobody tries to justify why someone's couture gown is $20,000. Nobody says, well, why is it that much? But if it was a couture gown from Ghana, people would say, why is it $20,000? So we need to kind of shift what we're thinking and look at the quality of the product.
For sure.
Yeah. So as a businesswoman in Ghana, what are some of the things that you would advise someone? Because there's definitely somebody watching right now who's thinking about, I want to come to Ghana and do business in Ghana or another African country. As a businesswoman, what are some of the things that you think people should consider before making the leap?
It's a good question. I think there are so many things to consider, but I think even though I was coming back and forth to Ghana, if you automatically come with an imperial view, your eyes, the way we are socialized in Canada, the Americas, Europe, wherever, Australia, you come with an imperial view of how it should be, right? And I think, and that can interact with your mindset and your thoughts and your directives in the market, in ShopRite, which is a grocery store here, a very prominent grocery store. I think you need to take the time to understand the people, right? So a lot of times if I'm working with a client and they think, oh no, they should be like this. And I'm like, that's not how Ghana works. And sometimes it's hard. If you're not dealing with a consultant, it's hard to penetrate the market because you can be very frustrated with the little things. And we speak about this, this capitalism thing, because, capitalism means if my employees are supposed to be here at 8 a.m., if that's the time their shift starts, then we would hope that they'll be here 7:45. In Ghana, you will find it can be a very romantic, I'm trying to say it in a.
Some people have said time is fluid for some
Okay,
people.
Yes. Time is very fluid. These are things you just have to accept because you're not in your country. You cannot dictate unless once you have your team and they train, they understand how you want to operate your SOP and all that kind of stuff. Yes, it takes time, but you need to take time to understand the culture. You would need to understand there's going to be a lot of currency inflections. Get ready for it. I've been here 3 years, and I think we got here. The Canadian dollar was 3.69. Now it's 4.81.
Yes.
So when you trade or when you are doing you need to take that into consideration. Obviously, things like accommodation, because those can be headaches if you don't have secure accommodation. And a lot of the times, you may not have electricity consistently, you may not have water running, but just enjoy where you are and understand this is kind of like the world before capitalism slapped itself against us, right? And so even in the North, some of the artisans that I work with, what we, not necessarily, but what society, Canadian society or American society would deem as developed, right? Like maybe a paved road or maybe a lawn that's manicured in front of your home, it doesn't really exist there. But you are still equal to that person, right? You're not above that person because you've gone to Harvard or because you've gone to Ryerson or MIT, right? Even before I moved, I kind of read those stories about, what to do when you come to Ghana, but you have to live it. You have to live it out. You can have a notebook. I have people that email say, hey, let's book a call on Zoom. I need to do the top 5 things. Ghana doesn't really work in that way.
Yeah.
There's a freedom that exists that people are attracted to, and I'm attracted to, and probably why I'm still here.
Yeah.
But there's also, there's also room for growth in certain areas. But again, you have to recognize that it's not your country. Even if you are a Ghanaian, like first gen. And I think also too, Ghana is fairly young.
Yes, it is.
We're fairly young, and so when we have these expectations, I'm speaking to myself too, when we have these expectations of, Ghana should be like this, or even a fashion show should be run like this, or even somebody's supply chain should be like.
It's not the case.
Yeah, it's not to be calculated. Ghana is a lived experience.
That is a perfect way to describe it. Ghana is a lived experience. And that's why I often tell people that if you're thinking of moving here, you have to spend time. You can't just, I shouldn't say you can't just, because there are people who've just packed their bags and they've come. If you're that type of personality, I'm not telling you not to do that, but be prepared for all of the kinks and all of the bumps and all of the challenges that you will face. If you have the ability to go back and forth, it gives you an opportunity to come in, spend a couple months, really understand, go back, and when you go back, if you feel like you still have the tug to pulling you that you need to go back, then you probably need to actually slowly make your way to make that final decision. But if you go back and you're like, you know what? Nah, it's not for me. Then you know it's not for you.
But also that tug, to your point, that tug can mean many different things. I think it can mean you need to find people on the ground that can help you run your project or run your company. It may not necessarily mean that you need to live here.
That's true.
Right? Because I don't think Ghana is for everyone. I don't even think Toronto is for everyone. I think, and I think that's how supply chains work. Like, yes, I need an ecosystem within Ghana, but in order for countries in general to run, you need people in different places in the world.
That's true.
So it's supply chain it's all that whole point of,
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true. People don't think about, so I hear people talking about doing business here, but they don't think about exporting. They don't always think about, I don't have to be here and register my business here. I can be there and partner with you and be the person who receives the product. And that could be your way of supporting the economy by simply being someone who is part of the supply chain.
Yes.
How we're talking about supply chains. I think people need to really seriously consider that. You don't have to live here. You don't have to move to an African country if you want to support a business or start a business. You can be abroad.
Yeah, private equity. There's so many. There's so many different ways. Yeah, it's a really good point. Because it's one thing that we talk about again. You and I talk about Ghana. Ghana has its areas of informality, and for someone coming over that doesn't understand Ghana, you may have a negative perception of Ghanaians, but it's just that Ghana is young. So I started with shea and then textiles, but now I find it's a better use of my time, a better use of my return on investment of my time to operate in consultancy form.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So instead, I'm not, having to worry about the shipments. I'm not having to worry about, all the things that can possibly go wrong in the country. I just operate from a consultancy form, and these businesses already have their own, either I've helped them set up logistics.
So with the consultancy, does that mean you're pulling away from the other business, or you sort of have your team that's working on it, so it helps you be able to do it?
So either the client overseas has their team, and I'm coming in different areas. So also, I like the consultancy work as well, because it kind of gives you that freedom to have fun and see different things. And so, with Black Lives Matter, there are a few brands that are going into department stores, and there's an opportunity to kind of have a second eye in terms of like a retail eye. So I help brands formalize as they make their journey over to, and some of them are even in Canada, make their journey into large department stores.
That's good.
Which I love, because it's kind of like, my foot's kind of in Canada. One foot's in Canada, one foot's in Ghana, and I'm Yeah.
That's good.
It's the good thing with digital.
Yeah, you're using your experience. And like you said, with digital, it opens up a world of
Oh yeah.
opportunities that didn't exist like 10, 15, 20 years ago.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So we went through a global pandemic. How did you push through and sustain yourself during that period? Because this past year really was a test for a lot of people as to how you would manage your business in difficult times. Because we know that the economy has its ups and downs. And this really was a downturn for a lot of people.
Yeah.
How did you manage to sustain yourself?
Yeah. And so in terms of the consultancy, part of what I do that grew. Because it's not necessarily relying on the businesses I work with are they're invested or are mature. So in terms of Woven Worldwide with the baskets, we hit a moment where it was a bit rough. It was a bit rough because people may not need may not want a basket that is maybe $600. Maybe they'll choose the basket that's maybe $100, but then they still don't want to justify that purchase. And so we partnered with Scale Up Africa. We are part of a COVID-19 resilience recovery program, and so we worked with artisans in the north, 70 artisans, and it was great because some of them I knew, some of them I didn't know. It was a blend of new weavers, master weavers, and when I say master weavers, like they could weave your body if you wanted. Like it's, yeah, there's so much talent here, so much talent here. So yeah, we did a week-long training in the north, and it was great. We covered like quality control. We covered 3 new techniques that the artists, some of these women didn't know. And it was probably one of the best things. It kind of like in the morning when you smell like oranges and it's a refresher, like it's that feeling that I got. And so Amma, who is the co-founder of Scale Up Africa, she's wonderful. And, she believed in the project. She believed in what I was working on. And so, yeah, we partnered and, it was great. And I'm still feeling the residual effects of it. And so, yeah.
That's great. So if somebody wanted to purchase from Woven Worldwide, would they do that on a website, Instagram? Because people use different ways of...
Yeah, so our Instagram is Woven Worldwide. And then also our e-commerce platform is wovenworldwide.com. Maybe Glitz,
you are one of those pioneers who are doing things in the continent of Africa. It's this new generation of people who are seeing the potential and going for it.
Thank
you.
I
commend you for it.
Thank you.
Easy.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy.
It's not. It's not. It's not.
So thank you. Thank you so much for watching African Woman on the Move. Follow her on Woven Worldwide. As she said, you can purchase through the website or through the Instagram page. All the information will be in the description box. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.